Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to improve the quality of my amortization schedule for a car loan. Now, a couple things I'm going to do here. I definitely want to get a extra column so I can put in extra payments that vary month by month. I'd also like to keep track of my total interest paid, which is summed up down at the bottom of that worksheet, but I'd really like to see it up near the top. So I'm going to take this column header, which I have for interest, right up here, and I'm going to enhance it a bit. I'm going to do an equals concat, which is concatenation, which is a fancy word for joining things together. I'm going to concatenate the word interest, so I'm just putting that in quotes, comma, I would also like to put in the value of this particular cell, which for me is F63. I'll just click there, and then closing parentheses. I'm actually still working in this particular cell here. And yeah, let's see what that does. And you see I get a pretty wacky looking number. It's just showing all of the cents there. I'm going to get a rounded version of this, I think. So let's edit this a little bit more. Instead of just F63, I'm going to round F63, comma, and then 2 for 2 to the right of the decimal. And I forgot my second parentheses, but Excel was nice and helped me out with that. There we go, interest 3108.65. Let's clean this up a little bit more. And instead of just interest period in those quotes, I'm going to do space total equals space, all within the quotes. And there we go, that looks pretty darn good. So now I'm going to be able to glance up there easily and see what that total interest is going to be. Now I'm going to go to my column I, which is my ending balance. I'm going to right click and insert. And you know what? I'm going to do right click and insert. Let's give me 2 columns. So the first payment is going to be my calculated payment. And then I'm going to have any extra payment that I might make. And then that'll give me a total payment that I'll make. So for now, we can just pretend that extra payment is 0. My total payment is going to be equal to my calculated payment plus any extra payment for that month. All right, that's good. Now the benefit of making extra payments and total payments is that it's going to reduce our loan even faster. So what I want to do next is go to the principal calculation. Now currently, my principal calculation is equal to my calculated payment minus the amount of that payment that goes to interest. Well, instead of H2, my calculated payment, I want that to be my total payment. Now that's not going to have obviously an impact there, but just imagine if I made a $10,000 extra payment in that first month. Well, that means my total payment is big. That means my amount to principal is super big, and that's going to have a tremendous impact on my beginning balance for the next month. I'm going to put that back at 0 for now. So now that I've got that extra payment calculated, really I just want to have a space for all of those others. For now, I can make that equal to the previous one. I'll just double click that fill handle to autofill it all the way down. My total payment is definitely different. So I'm going to double click the fill handle, autofill that all the way down. And my principal calculation has been modified. So my principal calculation now references that total payment cell. So let's make sure I autofill that one all the way down. So since I'm not making any extra payments, my total payment is not affected. So everything is still fine with this amortization table, and I zero out at the end. The interesting stuff comes along with what happens when I start paying a little bit extra. So if my calculated payment is $451.81 and I'm being proactive and I make an extra $100 payment per month, well, that's going to have some great benefit to me because it's going to pay off my loan a little bit sooner. I don't want to see these negatives here, and I don't want to just delete these amounts and things like that. I want to make it a little bit more automated. So what I'd like to do next is create some relatively complicated looking if functions that will start to determine when I hit that 0 mark and then zero out the rest automatically. I can give you a quick sample of that right here. For instance, I can go to this beginning balance calculation and say, all right, beginning balance is equal to the previous balance. However, if my previous balance is less than or equal to 0, well, then I want my beginning balance to be 0. Otherwise, I want it to be that previous balance. Now, just doing that's going to be pretty nice. Closing parentheses, autofill that down to the remainder. In fact, I can even autofill it up to these others. And this is going to give us a slightly more accurate display because now our beginning balance is zeroed out. And you might be thinking, hey, wait a minute though. If our beginning balance is 0, then we shouldn't be doing any other payments, right? We can say equals if our beginning balance is, and I'll do less than or equal to 0 again. If it's that, well, then our calculated payment is going to be changed to 0. Otherwise, it's going to be equal to the payment just above it. And now we can start to zero those out. And then we want to keep building on this ability to do if functions mixed with our known information in order to automatically stop making payments, and we'll have a really accurate result. So stick with me in the next video and we'll refine this even more.